goes.
Naga Siren.
Welcome
IG's turn
to the International 3. This is IG versus Alliance. This is the 4th series I've cast today, so this is going to be game number 7. And this is probably going to be the best one yet. There's been a lot of good games today, but Alliance and IG are both top picks for making it to the top 4 of the International in the playoffs. So this is undoubtedly going to be a really fantastic game.
5 seconds remaining.
And already
IG's turn
we
to
see
ban.
some really interesting picks. Now Alliance, they pick up the Lone Druid first, which that's been a go-to pick for them for a long time now. Admiral Bulldog is probably the world's best Lone Druid player, hands down. And no matter how many times that
10 seconds remaining.
Valve can nerf Lone Druid, Admiral Bulldog is still amazing with
5
him. So
seconds remaining.
it's a pretty fantastic pickup for Alliance. They also get the Naga
Alliance's
Siren.
turn to ban.
Last time I saw Alliance run Naga Siren, which was like a week ago, they ran it as a carry. We'll have to see whether they ended up going with the carry route. Personally, I kind of hope they don't, because I don't think that Naga is a particularly strong Loda hero.
5 seconds
Loda tends to do best on carries where he can show up and just use his ultimate
IG
at the right
turn to
time
ban.
and deliver a big team fight punch, which Naga Siren certainly can offer that with her ultimate, but something more along the lines of a Faceless Void Chronosphere or a Luna Eclipse.
10 seconds
Those are the kind of ultimates that Loda seems to be best suited to
5
using,
seconds remaining.
and because he's such a great farmer, he
Alliance's turn to ban.
really likes to focus on that. So if he can just, show up once every 2 to 3 minutes, help out his team, then go back to farming, that's when Loda seems to be at his best. Now that said, Alliance have put the Naga Siren to pretty good use in the past, so it's not by any means a weak Loda hero,
10
but
seconds remaining.
in my experience, Loda doesn't tend to excel
5
as much as he
seconds
could with
remaining.
other heroes when it comes to, maybe it's the micro-heavy aspect, maybe it's the
Reserve
teamfight
time.
coordination, I don't know what it is. But they've definitely had a lot of practice on this,
Alliance's
because
turn to
Naga
pick.
Siren has really gotten a lot of attention in the last few weeks. So there's no doubt that they've been practicing a lot with it. IG, they pick up the OD right at the beginning, which, great solo mid, it's going to make their team fight pretty nice, but they also get the Treant Protector. I have not seen IG run Treant Protector before, but it seems that, particularly during the
10 seconds remaining.
Alienware Cup, and I don't think, Treant wasn't in the
5
game really
seconds remaining.
back in the G1 League, which was when Alliance was last in China.
Reserve time.
But it seems like the Chinese teams have really taken a page out of Navi's book, and to a lesser extent Rattlesnake. They were also using the Treant Protector in the Alienware Cup. Oh, and his Treant Protector Timbersaw! Would not have expected IG to have taken this route, but this is a delightful little surprise, and I'm very curious to see how well they do with it. So Zenith were the first ones to show off the Treant Protector Timbersaw, and now everyone thinks it's great. And apparently there have been a number of other Timbersaw picks in today's games so far. So it looks like Timbersaw has really entered
10
into the scene, and he's here to
remaining.
stay. So that's pretty cool. So likely
5
that's going to be
seconds remaining.
a Timbersaw off lane with Treant Protector down in the safe lane. So IG's looking for one more support and their
Reserve
hard
time.
carry. Alliance, with the Gyrocopter pickup, would seem to indicate that this is a support Naga,
Crystal Maiden.
because Loda pretty much exclusively
IG's
plays
turn
Gyro
to
when
pick.
it's when Alliance picks it up. Could theoretically be Gyro mid. Watching that solo championship last night really has thrown off my expectations for what could go mid, because there's Lena mid, there was a Gyro v Gyro matchup, and that was S4 versus Dendi. I think that was S4's pick to do Gyro, so in the back of my
10
mind I'm kind of
seconds
hoping
remaining.
that I can use this little piece of information to predict an
Alliance's turn to ban.
improbable lane setup. Unlikely. It's probably gonna be Loda on the Gyro, and that's a good carry for him. So I'm glad for Alliance. Glad that they've decided to go this route.
10 seconds remaining.
Visage gets picked up pretty late in this
5 seconds
in this series of picks,
remaining.
but I think it's going to work out pretty nicely for IG. The only trouble I see is just that Visage tends to excel in try-v-try situations, or where there's somewhere he can be using his soul assumption before the 6 to 8 minute mark. And if Alliance is indeed running the support Naga, it's unlikely that there's going to be anybody, except for maybe Admiral Bulldog in the off lane, and that's not really gonna be much action for Visage down in bottom. But that's still okay. Visage provides something at every stage of the game. The Crystal Maiden pickup is a little interesting, I think, for Alliance, and I really like it for the sake of Naga. Naga struggles a lot with mana regen. That's probably Naga's biggest weakness as a support pick, and as a carry to some extent. But really, without the farm that
IG's turn to ban.
being a one or two position provides, Naga really struggles to get any items that help with mana regen. If some early kills happen, she can pick up arcane boots, but that's about it.
Turn to pick.
So the Crystal Maiden aura, if hope to God they actually pick up the aura, teams keep not doing that, and I hate it. If they do that, it's really helpful for Naga Siren, and will make it more possible for her to spam her entangle, her ensnare, and her riptide, which make her a lot stronger as a support pick if she generally has the
10
mana to use her
seconds
abilities.
remaining.
And it's 4 activatable abilities on that hero.
5 seconds remaining.
Doesn't have much influence on Lone Druid or Gyrocopter, and it's a Viper.
IG's
Holy
turn
shit,
to
it's Viper! Viper's pretty good versus OD. I've seen this matchup a few times in the past, and Viper competes pretty well. Still loses because at the end of the day, even all things being equal, or even if, if the opponent to OD has higher attack damage, OD can still interrupt last hits with the Astral Imprisonment. And even worse for
10
Viper in
seconds
particular,
remaining.
the Astral Imprisonment doesn't deal any damage, so it's not like there's,
5
like it's a
seconds
Razor,
remaining.
which is why we see a Razor ban, by the way, by IG in the second round. It's not like a Razor where every time he casts Imprisonment he's going to take damage. He's not going to do anything. It's not going to worry him all that much. And the other thing is that Viper has natural magic resist to the corrosive skin, and Nodi doesn't give a shit about that. He's got the pure damage orb, and he's going to be totally okay, basically in all circumstances. So it's going to be pretty good for OD. But Viper can challenge that lane. He's not worried about losing his mana, and he can do a lot of harass against OD. Particularly if Viper can hit 6 in time, and it's a Spectre pick. Ooh, this looks to be an aggressive Spectre, given the lineup that IG has so far. I like it. Well, an interesting set of picks on both sides. This is going to be quite a delightful match. And one of these two teams is going to break their winning streak so far. And by winning streak, I mean they Alliance versus LGD Int, they went 2-0. And IG versus Rattlesnake, they went 2-0. So in this group, both of these teams are undefeated for 2 games. Shocking. So one of these teams after this game will have lost their winning streak.
10 seconds
But this is
remaining.
probably the best matchup of any of today's games, at least in my mind. I mean, there's a lot of great games today, so it's kind of an arbitrary thing to
Prepare
say,
for
but
battle.
IG versus Alliance, this is going to be good. So, for Alliance on the dire side, we've got Akke playing that Crystal Maiden. Hope to God he picks up his E. I swear to God, Akke, make me a happy caster. And for once in like the last 6 Crystal Maiden games, pick up your aura before level 3. That's all I ask. S4 is going to be on that Viper, headed mid. Loda on Gyrocopter. EGM playing that support Naga. And, of course, Admiral Bulldog on that Lone Druid. For Invictus Gaming down on the Radiant side here, we've got Chuan on that Visage. Zhou is going to be on that Spectre. With my graphic settings turned down, it doesn't look so great when I check out people's
30
cosmetics.
seconds to
So it looks interesting to me, but I have no way of knowing if it actually looks good. Zhou will be on that Spectre. Faith on that Treant Protector. Ferrari headed mid as OD, and YYF on that Timbersaw. I've never seen YYF play Timbersaw. interesting hero for him to be playing. It looks like S4 is headed up top. Is it a mid lane?
The
Oh!
battle begins.
Loda's headed down with Akke and EGM towards this bottom lane for an aggressive tri-lane. I did not expect this. Now, this is actually a pretty smart play here. S4 should have a really good time against YYF. Viper does a lot of harass, and the reactive armor is not going to proc off of the damage over time from his orb. So there's a lot of free harass there. It's not going to be proccing the extra health regen. And mid, Admiral Bulldog should potentially beat Ferrari in mid. It's going to be very close, and it's not a matchup we get to see too often. But it's been tried before, and it does work. It's just that it requires the best possible lone druid play, which we can expect from Admiral Bulldog. So, looking forward to seeing who comes out on top here. Admiral Bulldog is not usually a mid player, so that's another exciting aspect of this. The biggest question for Alliance, I think, is this tri-lane. Both of the other lanes are going to do fine. Potentially even win both of them, or at least break even. But they need to get their levels, and this is... They've picked two supports here that are very level dependent. Naga Siren does provide a minimum level of usefulness with 2 levels. Just get the ensnare, and that's all you need to get the rocket barrage up. Oda's actually chosen to get flat cannon first, just for the extra harass. Possibly wants to stress out Faith, force him to use a lot of living armor as early as possible, and make sure that's not available for other lanes. Another reason I like the Viper pick is it burns through the living armor charges pretty quickly, so that's another nice thing I like about Alliance's draft so far.
Way.
But yeah, the tri-lane is the big question mark for both teams. If Alliance can pull it off, if they can manage not to give up some kills, which they don't really have any stuns. This is the problem with IG's lineup here, is that they've got some damage. Oh, Zhou, he gets frostbit. There's no ensnare nearby because EGM was not nearby. If he were, that would have been a kill. No rocket barrage used by Loda. I think that might have been a kill if he had. So the thing that's great about Gyro, it burns through living armor charges. There's a lot of ways for Alliance to remove living armor in this game. So yeah, there's no stuns or really any burst damage from IG. The only soul assumption charges that Chuan's gonna get are from Akke. He's dropping really low. There's a soul assumption charge. Chuan picks up the first blood down in this bottom lane. Akke just steps a little too far forward, and Naga, where did you pick up that kill? Okay, you found Faith alone in the jungle. That's interesting. I don't know how that happened, but it's a trade. It's a kill solely going towards EGM, and Alliance only loses Akke. As long as Loda's alive, he's the most important part of this tri-lane. Not just because he's the carry, but he also provides all the harassment and all of the threat through the rocket barrage. Crystal Maiden's certainly an important part, but the tri-lane can still function without him, especially given how passive IG's tri-lane is forced to be. And it looks like, is Faith just jungling? I don't know what his game plan is here. I'm not sure what he hopes to get done. I guess he just wants to get levels up on Chuan and Zhou, but I don't know. This is very strange to me. The pull isn't warded. This is another decision I'm not quite understanding from IG right now, is that they could be pulling right now. It is hard to do. It's very dangerous with the tri-lane that the Alliance has. That's like so much damage. And EGM, he could find another kill here for no reason. It's another kill. EGM, great, just great awareness. He realizes, like, where the hell is Faith? He's not anywhere nearby. He's not pulling.
Radiant's courier
Ooh,
has been
and a
killed.
courier kill. Where the... Wow. Ferrari, big mistake by him. Admiral Bulldog picks up a courier kill with his bear. Things are off to a bad start for IG. Loda, he steps a little too far forward. He's tanking some of the tower shots, and he's going to get hit with the soul assumption, but oh yeah, he will go down. Both Zhou and Chuan drop low to make that happen, but they get the kill, and that's what matters. Though, Yeah, I mean, this demonstrates how weak the tri-lane is for IG. Like, even with that kill, with Loda gone, they still can't press the issue. They have to be very passive about how they position themselves here. Faith being level 1 is a gigantic problem. It's almost 5 minutes in, and he doesn't have multiple levels of living armor. Level 1 living armor is shit. It's 4 damage distances. It provides the 4 regen. It's not good. You've got to get levels on Faith. And not just 1 or 2. You've got to get him up to 5 to 7. That's the critical parts for him.
Dire's top tower
So
is
over
under
in mid,
attack.
it's really close. Ferrari is ahead by a fairly healthy margin. It's 21 and 21 on him versus 16 and 13 on Admiral Bulldog, but that's about as good as you can hope for against OD. That's how strong he is of a laner. Man, look at all the harassment here in this bottom lane. Loda can position himself so aggressively. No points in homing missile yet, probably because he just doesn't need it. He'd prefer to have more procs on the flat cannon, more damage on the rocket barrage. And Faith, he's got to get more levels. This is a big problem for IG. Up in top lane, YYF versus S4. S4 is dominating him. Wow, 33 and 13 versus 19 and 4 on YYF. Now things get a little bit better for YYF now that he has the chakram. He can have long range harass and it removes health based on health missing versus S4. So it's got some utility to it, but it's just he doesn't have the mana for it. And given that he's falling behind in last hits, he's not going to have his arcanes quite on time. He really would have liked to have them. Oh, nice rotation from EGM. It's going to land the ensnare on Ferrari, and he's going to go down. He didn't have the Astral Imprisonment. He'd already used it on Admiral Bulldog, and so that's an easy kill. Good rotation from EGM. Naga Siren's really good at that. I mean, like level 1 ensnare is a 2-second. 2-second disable, and level 2 is 3 seconds. That's long. That's hella long. Also, he cast from pretty decent range, and doing it at nighttime gives him just enough time to get in there to make sure that Ferrari can't just walk away. So things get pretty good in this mid lane for Admiral Bulldog. Is there level 3 on Faith yet? Nope. The longer that Faith doesn't, can't stress how bad this is for IG. The longer he's not at 3, the less and less that they can compete in this tri-lane. Right now, Loda's at 26 and 8 versus 17 and 7 on Zhou, so it's not an overwhelming advantage, but it is one nonetheless. And the aggressive tri-lane should not be winning out in farm and experience. And oh, there's the ensnare onto Zhou. Do they have the damage necessary? Yes, they do. Chuan will find a return kill onto EGM, and good rotation from YYF. He teleports in. Chakram not quite on the mark. Loda's able to just dodge most of it, and so YYF not really getting anything for his rotation down the bottom. It's going to leave S4 to farm up at top completely on his own. He's going to be happy camper, and this almost looks to be a Vlad's rush on him. Very strange, if that's what it is. We'll have to see. Oh, over mid, solo kill. Ferrari takes out Lone Druid, which that is something that one problem with the OD Lone Druid matchup is that Lone Druid is not an intelligence hero and will suffer under this Sanity's Eclipse, which that was used to make that kill happen. Which Ferrari's happy to get a solo kill on Admiral Bulldog with the use of that. I love how my game lags up every time the familiars get summoned. S4 up at top though, he is free farming like nobody's business. 55 last hits right now, and he's getting some work done on this top tier 1. Faith is rotated up here, but I don't know what he can get done. The one fortunate thing for Faith was that he was there for that kill on EGM, and Zhou wants to go on this. Oh, nice hookshot in from YYF. Gets the Whirling Death. And takes out EGM, so important kill. And YYF makes his time worth it. He spent a lot of time down here, but manages to make a kill happen, and brings things back into order for this tri-lane down at bottom. And the familiars are now up for Chuan, so that provides an actual bit of damage. And security for Zhou. It almost looks like he maybe they're set on follow for Zhou. But it's possible that probably be sharing control and allowing Zhou to control the familiars just for his own purposes, so that Chuan can focus on pulling. That's a total speculation. No evidence to believe that necessarily, but well, 10 minutes in, 5-4. We've already got some good action, and I can only imagine it will continue this direction. I really am concerned for IG as we get into the mid game, though. Timbersaw and Stream Protector have not had the starts that they need to be effective as picks. Timbersaw, from the games I've seen him, does not. He's not a comeback hero. He's not gonna be able to farm up a whole bunch and show up at some point, surprise everyone. He has to get the advantage in his lane. He has to make kills happen while the laning phase is still present and shortly thereafter. But there aren't really any kills for him to get aside from what's potentially available down in the bottom lane. And Alliance are not going to be giving up any kills very easily anyways, especially now that Loda's level 6. He's got the call down. It makes any approaches towards this bottom lane that much more dangerous. I'm pretty impressed by how many levels this Crystal Maiden has managed to get in this bottom lane. Usually as an aggressive tri-laner, Crystal Maiden has a little more trouble keeping up. And he does at least have one level in Arcane Aura. I've given up on hoping that a pro player will ever get multiple auras, multiple points in Arcane Aura. It just seems like it's never going to happen, but ooh, there's the Haunt! And Ferrari has rotated up top. S4 could be in big trouble here. It does look like he is. He slows down the attack speed a lot of Ferrari, but that's just not going to be enough. Oh, the sleep is used late by EGM, and there's no support here, so the sleep has been blown for no reason. Oh, that's sad. Slow rotation by EGM, but really just good rotation by IG. The Haunt being used by Zhou. Without his support there, I doubt that they would have been able to find a kill on S4 alone, because even with the haste, all S4 has to do is just, you know, pop his Viper Strike and the Poison Orb and utterly burn Ferrari's attack speed to nothing. So an important kill, and especially given how much free farm S4's had, he hasn't done any rotation yet, and I don't understand his build here. Why does he have a mechanism? It's important that somebody gets a mechanism on this team, and it's going to be forever and a day before Crystal Maiden gets it. EGM would like to focus on other things. That's really not an ideal item to have on Naga Siren. It doesn't synergize with anything of what she does particularly well. But putting a mechanism on him, I feel, is just, it's kind of short-sighted. Yeah, it helps him in the early game, but I don't know how much Alliance is really interested in pushing here. They can farm up on Loda, they can farm up on Admiral Bulldog, and he's not going to be applying any pressure for the next 5, potentially even 10 minutes. He just wants to get his items up, and until that point, he's not really going to be all that active. So you need the mechanism, but I just feel like if you have more damage, I don't know. I don't feel like Viper is the sort of hero that can make good use out of the mech. So I mean, it's I don't know. You gotta have it, but I don't think they're in such a rush for it. They're not gonna be grouping up and pushing anytime soon. Might be going in for skirmishes. Might be trying to stop IG's pushes, but I don't know. We will see. We will see. Zhou has picked up his phase drums. So he's getting a little more mobile. Has a little bit of is this T1 gonna go down? Yes, it is. IG strike first for towers. They pick up the ooh. There's an overgrowth in time for the teleport in. Chuan's here. 2 teleports out. Is S4 gonna make it out? No. The familiar stuns will interrupt him out of that, and so he will go down. EGM does manage to make it out. It was a nice idea to teleport, but S4 just couldn't do it in time. That was a great overgrowth from Train Protector. Really nice use of Nature's Guise. That's not something we see often enough from Train Protector picks, is actually picking up even any points in Nature's Guise, but that's what allowed him to get in position there for the overgrowth. And that's what allowed them to get that kill on S4. That's a big deal, and it slows down his mechanism. Does he have the mech recipe?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
No, he does not, as far as I can tell. So that slows the mechanism down even further, and that's... Oh, okay. He does have it. He bought it before he died. Sitting in his stash. YYF, he gets entangled. Oh, and ensnared. I don't know if he can make it out of this, but that doesn't stop the Timber Chain. They can't stay on top of him. YYF is just too mobile. Plus the familiar stun's not helping anything. It's hard to kill Timbersaw at any stage of the game. Oh, Faith is just about to hit his level 7. That's a juicy number for him.
Radiant's top tower.
It does look like Alliance is going to contradict me here. They're grouped up at top, want to take their first tower of this game. Unlikely that IG will try and challenge this. They already managed to take some kills out of an earlier challenge push, so
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
IG's okay giving that up.
Radiant's top tower
Getting a lot of damage onto the mid-tier 1, but I don't know that they should be giving up 2 towers. It seems a little unnecessary, but it's also kind of hard to challenge, especially with the mech. They've got the sustain they need. Admiral Bulldog, he's sitting on 2,400 gold, so I imagine he's going for a Radiance in this game. It will do some work, but I feel that IG are fairly tanky here. His bear, it's not that much of a threat to Timbersaw because he can always Timber Chain away. The entangle is just not that much of a threat. And I'm starting to wonder. There was a recent interview with Hobost, and he was asked about Alliance, and he felt that Alliance had not adapted their drafts to 6.78. And I'm kind of wondering with the Lone Druid. This is Admiral Bulldog's hero. Admiral Bulldog can play plenty of other heroes. He's a great player. He's not a one-trick pony, but this is how Alliance have achieved a number of their victories. It's on the back of Admiral Bulldog's amazing Lone Druid skills. And it doesn't seem like Lone Druid is particularly good in this matchup. Not that Lone Druid is never useful, but who's he going to kill with it? Spectre? He's got Reality. Train Protector? Okay. Definitely not Timbersaw, and the imprisonment from Ferrari can be used in so many ways to fuck with engagements. There's a lot of ways for IG to control who Alliance focuses and how much focusing they can manage to get done. Wow! Akke gets melted. The haunt is used by Zhou, but it's not to any effect. I think they were expecting more to be there when they ran across Akke. I don't think they expected him to be alone. So a wasted haunt, but it's not really that big of a deal. There's always some utility to the haunt, and especially they know that, at least they should know that Loda's doing the Ancients right now. Zhou's hanging around nearby. He would love to challenge this. But that's a mid-tier 1 going down in favor of IG. I was really worried for them at the beginning of this game, but I don't know. I think some of the decision making by Alliance is where I really begin to question. They spent a lot of time farming when they could have been a lot more aggressive and applied way more pressure than they are right now. Especially if you're gonna build a mech on Viper. I mean, come on. I'm gonna beat this one into the ground. You build a mech on Viper, you better fucking justify it. And I'm not seeing it yet. Looks to be a Bloodstone. Bloodstone coming up on YYF. A little bit before he has that, but you know, it's a standard pick on Timbersaw. It's not bad. I just think it's a little underwhelming. This appears to be a Vlad's coming up on Faith. I really like this. Will help in their team fights, and they've got a number of melee. Particularly, Zhou will benefit from that Vlad's quite a bit. Ferrari's heads it back, and he looks to be headed towards a 4-staff. I've noticed that the Eastern teams tend to be favoring the 4-staff on UD, which I think is a very appropriate choice. It kind of kind of fell out of favor for no particular reason. Teams got interested in the Rod of Atos, in getting the mechanism and then going straight for something like a Scythe of Vice, skipping the Force Staff entirely, but it is just such a great positioning tool, and allows Ferrari to be involved in initiating. Force Staff forward and land an imprisonment. Could be a big deal. Chuan, he's got a number of different items here. He's got his medallion. He's got a headdress, which I assume will be a mecha. Maybe he was thinking about building the mechanism, built that, and then realized that Ferrari was getting it. So it could just be, one of those instances. That does happen in professional games. But then he's got the point booster headed straight for the Ags. It's really all he needs. Once you get the medallion, you can get mana boots, but you don't really need them of Visage, especially if there's anyone else in your team that's building mana boots, and especially with Essence Aura, that's another big factor here too. So Ferrari, he'll be able to make it out a-okay from the jungle. I really feel like Alliance is starting to struggle here. You can see the lead that they had. They were really quite far ahead, but they're just playing pretty passively. They're not getting a lot out of the map, especially compared to IG. They only have one tower, and it doesn't seem likely that they're going to get any more in the future. Particularly, they had this critical point where Faith was sitting at like level 4 at 10 minutes in, and that living armor was not going to be doing much to heal those towers back up, but they missed that critical period, and now they're not accomplishing a whole lot. Oh, there's the ensnare onto Zhou. Is he going to be able to make it away? No, I don't think so. He's frostbited inside the call down. He will go down, no problem. Faith shows up just in time to do nothing. Why we have teleports down bottom as well, but IG, they're just not able to get there in time. He went down way too fast. An easy pick-off for Alliance, and they'll just kind of go back to what they were doing before. In terms of the late game here, I would say that it favors... I think it favors Alliance simply because Timbersaw falls off kind of hard. He provides less and less as the game goes on. Once you get past the 35 minute mark especially, he can provide a lot of harassment. He moves around all over the place. If you get something like the Scythe of Vice on him, that's definitely very strong, and make sure that it doesn't matter that he's not dealing damage. He's providing a hex. But he's just not as much of a threat. So they're really looking to Ferrari and Zhou to make this game work for them. And versus Gyrocopter and Lone Druid, very strong late game carries. The thing I have, the worry I have for Lone Druid is just that he won't be able to deal the damage because of how mobile IG is and how many ways they control the fight. There's the Radiance up on Admiral Bulldog, 23 minutes in. That's great timing. And BKB up on Loda, that's a big deal too. So Alliance may be interested in fighting here. They're two critical items for their success here. IG, they may look to try and take this fight. I don't know that they want to dive the tower. Oh, there's the call down. It lands onto just YYF. He timber chains out, and so he's going to be okay. Loda BKB, but... oh, big lag. I don't know what's going on here. Wow. Still nobody dead. How has nobody died yet? Jesus, everyone is dropping so low. All of the ultimates have been used. Okay, finally, Akke goes down to the Soul Assumption, and Zhou gets picked off by Admiral Bulldog. There's the song used by EGM. This could be a good setup, or it could just be an escape. I think Alliance just wants to get out of here. They pick off Zhou. They make a trade. It's a very slight trade. The support for Zhou, it's good for them, but they also, I mean, IG can just kind of continue the push. They aren't totally dependent on Zhou at this point. The biggest problem is just that it delays his Radiance, but he'd already picked up the Relic, so he didn't lose that much gold. Very awkward fight. The lag spike didn't help see what happened there, but it just looked like both teams were positioned really well. They were out-positioning each other, so the call down didn't do much. The Sanity's Eclipse didn't do much. No Viper Strike was apparently used in that fight. Ferrari comes back in. They want to find a kill on S4 here. The frostbite from Akke may cost him his life. Yes, he will go down to the soul assumption from Chuan. Loda, he gets overgrowth here, but nice defensive improvement for Ferrari. Will save him for the time being, but he's just going to go down immediately after this. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Alliance. I think that was way too ballsy from IG. They'd already lost Zhou, and they could have they were. Oh, Chuan gets rooted. Rude gaming here. 3 kills in favor of Alliance, and that's big overextension by IG. There's no real reason for them to stay there. They could get some damage onto the tier 2 middle, which is why they stuck around. But once Akke was back and once Alliance had healed up, there's no reason for them to stick around. Zhou's nowhere nearby. He didn't have Haunt at the time. So questionable decision making from IG there, and that's going to cost them. And the exact price, besides the hero kills, will be mid tier 1 and Roche. IG can try and challenge it, but I don't know that they're going to be able to get there in time. Alliance has plenty of damage to make this go down very quickly. There's the Yasha pickup on S4, looking towards that Manta style. Yeah, and Roche will go down. IG are not able to get there in time, and well, it's a very back and forth game. I mean, look at that graph. Oh, that's so good. Dipping back down into the 3,000 range in favor of Alliance. About 4,000 experience. The experience difference was not very significant up until this point. Now strongly in favor of Alliance, and now that they have this Aegis, they can really start to work on towers, which is important for them. Be able to take control of the jungle, open up room for them to farm with their farm greedy lineup. Oh, Ferrari! If he gets ensnared, oh, there's no chance for him. There can be teleports in, although Alliance choosing to back off. They're awfully nervous here. Ferrari, defensive imprisonment on to Faith. I don't know about the decision. Cancel TP from YYF. Good idea. No chance of being able to save this clusterfuck down here. How did Faith make it out of that? Did he just walk away? Yeah, I don't know. The defensive imprisonment on Faith, it may have saved his life, but I kind of feel like maybe he could have used it on one of Alliance and had the same effect and maybe accomplish more in his few seconds of remaining life. But that's kind of, maybe not a big difference. Doesn't matter that much. Radiance is finished on Zhou, so his Haunt is... It's decent. It's not going to do anything to Admiral Bulldog, and God, this is the ugliest skin, in at least my humble opinion. Like, what the fuck? That face. That face is horrifying. It's like a gargoyle. I really hadn't taken any time to look at it, but Jesus. It's terrible. Mid tier 2, or bottom tier 2 goes down in favor of Alliance on the back of that fight. But I don't know how much work this Radiance is going to do. The Chinese teams love to build Radiance, and I guess the Western teams do too. There's only a select few teams that seem to agree with me that maybe you should go for Diffusal. But against Admiral Bulldog, does nothing. Viper, very little. He's relatively tanky as is. He's going to have a Manta-style Stun, make him that much tankier. Plus he has Corrosive Skin, which really helps mitigate some of that damage from the burn damage. It's a great item, and it increases the single target DPS quite a lot, but it's probably the biggest threat for Akke more than anything else. EGM, he's actually gotten pretty farmed here. I like this decision making by Alliance. I've seen a number of teams run the 5-position Naga. It's not a good idea. An underfarmed Naga is basically useless. I'm looking at you, Fnatic. But EGM, he's got Treads, Urn, Wand, Poor Man's Shield, and Assange, looking towards possibly an SNY or Heaven's Halberd. The SNY would probably be a stronger pickup in my mind. The move speed could really be quite useful for getting into these fights, making sure the song lasts or hits as many people as possible. I haven't seen SNY on Naga Siren really ever, but I think it'd be pretty great. It's relatively uncommon simply because Manta style is so favorable on Naga Siren, but if you're just looking for, if you're focusing on the utility of Naga Siren, I think it's probably a stronger pickup, especially if you're not going to go for a Diffusal, which you don't have to. If you went for a tankier build, went for something like SNY into a Radiance into a Heart, in whichever order, that'd be very strong. Really good split pushing. His illusions would be a pain in the ass to take down, that's for sure. So Ferrari's picked up a Ghost Scepter. This could be a Ethereal Blade. It may just be looking for some security against Admiral Bulldog, which that will provide. Vitality Booster picked up on Zhou, so he's looking towards his heart of Taras. Top tier 2 goes down in favor of Alliance. They're exerting yet more map control on the back of this Roche kill. There's about 2 more minutes before the Aegis expires. So Alliance would love to continue to press this advantage. I don't know if they can break the base right now. In fact, I'm pretty sure they can. They would probably be better served just by rotating middle and removing more towers. So Ferrari forced to go for a more defensive pickup means that something more aggressive, like a Scythe of Vice, will be delayed. YYF hasn't managed to pick up anything since his Bloodstone. He did just get it a couple minutes ago, so it's not too harsh of a criticism in reality, but this is kind of what I mean about Timbersaw. You know, you can get that first item, but if by that time you're not having a big impact on the game, then what is he offering to deal with Alliance? This is such a back and forth game, I have to say. I probably called it a little bit too early in favor of Alliance, and then overreacted a little bit to IG taking command in around the 15-minute mark. But Alliance are looking really strong here. Now that they've grouped up and found a couple pretty crucial pickoffs, particularly that kill on Zhou, made a bigger difference than I would have predicted. That's all the outer towers removed on the side of IG, and this suddenly gets a lot harder for IG to find any farm, which is pretty bad for the position they're in. They really an underfarm Spectre provides very little for your team, and a Radiance is not enough on its own. IG can do okay stopping some of the push here. Chakram is pretty decent. Timbersaw can just run back into the base, mana up, walk back in. And plus he's got a Bloodstone, so he's got plenty of mana regen. And it is a Heaven's Halberd pickup on EGM. I guess it is pretty strong versus Ferrari. It's decent versus Zhou. Because he's an illusion-based hero, he's not quite as concerned about the Heaven's Halberd, but he is quite deadly versus Ferrari, especially because he doesn't have a BKB. Until he has a BKB, he's going to be having trouble with that disarm quite a lot. Magistyle's finished by S4. More survivability, and a healthy chunk of damage. And I believe all of his illusions get corrosive skin. They don't get the poison orb, but he is pretty much built for stats right now, so his illusions will be tanky and deal a healthy chunk of damage. Plus it's extra push. Admiral Bulldog, what's he got going on? Where's your bear, buddy? Where is your bear? There it is. He's got the AC, and then with the Javelin pickup, looks to be headed towards a Monkey King bar. Could also be a Basher. Either one is a great choice. The Monkey King bar would be kind of a predictive pick, expecting Zhou to go for a Butterfly, which he would at some point, but he's not anywhere near that. So I think the Basher might be a stronger pick in the short term. You can always pick that up later. Loda just picked up his Satanic, so his survivability now looking really strong. Still sitting on an 8-second BKB for him, so lots of survivability for him in this game. Well, IG looks a little unsure of themselves. It's hard for them to venture out too far. They're nervous to take a team fight, especially as long as the Aegis is still around. Did just get reclaimed about 30 seconds ago, so that's no longer a concern. But IG, they're gonna have to fight for the next Roche. I think if they give that next Roche up, they're probably not gonna be able to stop the push from Alliance into their base. So I expect the next big fight to revolve around that, and that means it's critical for there to be no pickoffs in the next 2 minutes for IG. Honestly, every one of their heroes are pretty critical for making this engagement work, and it's like Ghost Scepter picked up on YYF. Nobody wants to be rooted. And I mean, there is a lot of auto attack damage. The flat cannon provides a lot of effective survivability. So I think thinking more about the Vlad's pickup on Faith, that armor aura is pretty useful for his team. especially when you're dealing with a flat cannon and you don't have that many agility. In fact, you've only got Zhou as the agility on your team, so there's no one with natural armor growth. So his whole team is really benefiting a lot from the plus armor of Vlad's. It's actually a fairly important buff that they allowed Vlad's to stack with the armor aura of Assault Cuirass. They didn't used to, but now that they do, it makes it a more viable support pickup item on its own. You don't just have to get it for the lifesteal. You can get it for other reasons too. Or, you know, you don't just have to get it for the push. It's really the more common use of it. 1300 gold on EGM. I'm curious to see what he's going to go next. I think something more DPS oriented could be quite strong. $3,500 gold on Zhou. He's not too far off from his heart, which will be quite critical for him. There's no way that he can live through this next fight without it. Loda just deals too much damage at this point, and he doesn't even have any major damage items. He's just got all his mid-game items built up. There's a smoke up by IG here. They know that Roche is coming any second now, and they're ready to take this fight. The problem for IG is the sleep. It's all going to depend on EGM. Can EGM land the sleep that he needs? Ooh, Invis picked up on Akke, but there's a sentry right here. There's the haunt. Popped. EGM pops the sleep. Who are they going to focus? This is the question. Alliance seems very unsure. They're spread out all over the place. Chuan pops the Ghost Scepter, so there's no root available for him. So they use the sleep to no avail. Very awkward engagement. Is IG forced to give up the Roche as a result of that? I think this is not a great decision by IG. They lose Roche for a very awkward engagement. Why? Why would they back out? The sleep was wasted. It was gone. There was no big setup available for an alliance now that was gone, and I don't understand the decision making from IG. I think they could have fought that. And I kind of think they had to. Alliance are in a good position here to start pushing into the base, and as a result of the last few minutes here, they're now 10,000 gold lead. Only 5,000 experience, so not a huge level deficit, but 10,000 gold at this stage of the game. Quite a bit. It is a Vlad's pickup on EGM. Quite like it. Still sticking with the utility trend, but also applies to his illusions. This is what I really like this build on EGM. Something I didn't think about the Heaven's Halberd is that the evasion applies to his illusions, making them much tankier effectively for pushing lanes, for soaking up tower hits. And Vlad's aura additionally also applies to his illusions, so he can push out waves with nothing but his illusions. Alliance may not need that, and given the way things are right now, Alliance can just push into the base unimpeded. Oh, IG has to take this fight. They have to make this work. They pop the fortify, but honestly a little bit late. The damage was already coming out.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Nervous engagement for IG. They don't know when to go in. They know if they go in at the wrong time. And he's just leaving this chakram here, like right in the middle of everything. But it doesn't matter. Admiral Bulldog's bear just doesn't give a shit. Oh, there's the disruption. Mistimed familiar stun means that Loda can walk straight out of this. Pops the BKB, uses the call down just to clear through the creep wave, and that's the bottom racks going down. IG can't stop it. But they don't even use their cooldowns. They might be able to take down Admiral Bulldog's bear. They're popping the sleep just to save the bear. I love it. Oh, but they pop the haunt. Can they go in on this? Zhou will pop forward. He'll take out Akke. They'll find EGM as well. Are there any more kills available for IG in their chase? If they can get a few more, it could be decent for them. But I mean, this is Loda with an Aegis. The defusal? Ah, yes, there's a defusal on Zhou. I like that decision making by Zhou, but I don't think his team can catch up. He can't handle this fight. It's too dangerous. YYF shows up just a little bit too late, although Loda's stuck inside the chakram. Nice timber chain. He just gets used up on Loda. IG's really looking to press this. S4's got to be careful because Ferrari's still alive. The Sanity's Eclipse is available. Loda goes down. IG, they're pushing this as far as they can, and they're trying their best. Nice chakram burning through the trees to chase down S4. A bit of a mistimed imprisonment there means that the The orb doesn't hit, but it doesn't matter. IG just takes another kill, and potentially they could make something happen off of this. They're looking relatively healthy, and I want to say the difference maker in that fight was the defusal for Zhou. If Zhou did not have the defusal, he would not have caught up to Loda. He would not be dealing the damage that he is right now. Absolutely huge. Take note, other teams that don't ever fucking build defusal on Spectre. The buybacks from Alliance will guarantee that IG can't keep pushing this, but they force out the buybacks, and they remove a lot of the momentum that that Alliance gained from that fight down at bottom. The one fortunate thing for IG, on top of those kills, I mean those kills are a pretty big deal, but they've got the main tracks. They've still got that. That's going for them. That was a good fight for IG, and I really thought they might have been overextending. I didn't think they could do it, but I think that was really good decision making. Just realizing that with the supports down in Alliance, not having them anywhere nearby, meaning that if they could if they could chase down Loda, if they could burn through the Aegis, they could buy themselves a lot more time in this game, which is exactly what they've done. They're gonna have breathing room for the next 5 minutes or more, potentially until the next Roche, which is about how long it'll be before Roche comes up again. The question is, can IG handle the next Roche fight? That's what's really unclear. They capitalized on a poor disengage there from Alliance. They got really cocky there. EGM stuck behind trying to save Admiral Bulldog's bear, which, you know, it's an admirable effort, but it's cocky. And as a result, EGM was caught completely off on his own. And really, if EGM had just stayed behind, sacrificed himself for the sleep, IG would have been stuck all the way back there, would not have been able to catch up with Loda, and they might not even have killed EGM. I'm not sure what the interaction with sleep is with reality on Zhou. Point being, I don't know if it's possible for... So if Zhou uses the haunt, can he reality to one of his illusions while his main hero is slept? I don't know. If he's able to do it through sleep, then it might not have actually made that much of a difference, because Zhou used the haunt before the sleep was popped. And that's the critical part there. I also didn't see, but he may have immediately teleported to Akke and gone for that easy kill. Scythe of Ice picked up on Ferrari. That's a pretty big deal, honestly. It always is. I don't know why I say these things. Talisman Evasion picked up on Timbersaw. It looks like he's interested in getting a Heaven's Halberd of his own, which would be pretty useful. Chuan, he's gone all over the place with his build. He's got a Force Staff, Ghost Scepter, Point Booster, Nine of Courage. Maybe someday he'll finish that Ag Scepter. One thing I want to point out is that it used to be... Gyrocopter used to be a pretty strong counter pick to Visage, and one of the reasons that we see more Visage now is that they removed the ability for Flat Cannon to hit familiar illusions. And that's also one of the reasons that Ag Scepter has become more common in Visage, because it's just yet another mechanism that has been removed to burn through those familiars really easily. So... interesting choice by Faith to pick up the treads. His auto attack damage is actually relevant. It's one thing that's always easy to forget about Treant Protector. He has lower base attack, or higher base attack time, lower attack speed than most, if not all, other heroes normally. So getting treads on him is quite efficient. Increases his damage by quite a lot because his base damage is so high. Increases his DPS, I should say, not his base damage. Zhou, he's going for Yasha next. Gotta get that Manta style up, which I think is, since he's gone for the defusal, I think that's the right choice. I like the decision not to finish the heart. Originally I'd said that the heart needed to be, he really needed it to survive these fights. But surviving is not enough. He's got to deal the damage, and the defusal is the solution there. So getting the casual Vit booster helps the survivability out quite a lot, and gives him room to focus on other items without having to complete the entire heart, which, while it is a lot of HP, it's probably more efficient just to get the bit booster. Ghost Zipper picked up on S4. Interesting. I don't know how long he's had that, but I don't know why he has it. Helps with auto attacks from Spectre, I guess. I can't help but feel like, I don't know. I don't understand the purpose of that. Very strange. GM's got to be careful here. Cannot get caught out. It's just going to TP out, so he should be okay. So IG Smoke Up will not find any kills. Haven't looked at Admiral Bulldog in a while. Since that Basher, he's not actually managed to build anything, except he just now picks up a full Monkey King bar, so right on time for getting his next item. His bear is super deadly, but I worry for the health of his bear. I worry that the health of his bear will drop to 0. One of the nice things about Outworld Devourer, God, he keeps calling him... I should just keep calling him OD. One of the values of OD is the pure damage rips apart the bear, especially as the game goes on. There's nothing that you can build on the bear that will help him live through that. So as the game goes forward, OD just tears through it faster and faster. And Zhou, you know, he's no joke either. His auto attack damage is quite high, and this is the weakness of I associate Lone Drew with Admiral Bulldog so strongly that I keep trying to call the hero Admiral Bulldog. You know, one of the weaknesses of Admiral Bulldog is, you know, the HP of his bear, that sort of thing. But the weaknesses of Lone Druid in the late game are that if the bear can't stay alive, then a lot of your items go to waste. And there's a smoke popped by IG. This one, they want to fight. EGM still has his sleep. The Haunt is popped by Spectre. The Radiance damage is still going through. It's a lot of free damage for IG here in this fight, but Call Down lands on 3. Sanity Eclipse on 3. Overgrowth lands on 3 as well. It's the complete clusterfuck. Faith goes down first, but EGM's dropping really low. Zhou as well. He will drop down. EGM and Akke are the ones to drop first in this fight. It's a 4-for-2 in favor of Alliance. They will defend their ground. And Admiral Bulldog will, in fact, pick up yet another kill. Oh, it was Visage. Okay. That's a 5 for none, I do believe. I still have this on last hits and denies. I really should have changed that a long time ago. Bore me. Wow. What a clusterfuck of a fight. I think charging in like that may not have been IG's best idea, particularly their positioning. When they got caught in the sleep, which they should have been expecting. They knew it was coming. They were pretty grouped up, and they ate a full call down. What else did they eat? All of the flat cannon, the rocket barrage, easy roots for Lone Druid. Their positioning in that fight was really suboptimal, and they fed a lot of damage, free damage, to Alliance because of their positioning. I didn't see, and there was a freezing field in that fight. I didn't see Akke use it, but there's a lot of things I didn't catch in that fight. So, on the back of that victory, Alliance will take Roche. Is that cheese? I think so. Yes, it is. S4 will carry the cheese. It's a Monkey King bar picked up on Loda, so his damage just got relevant. At 48 minutes into the game, a BKB and Satanic are not enough to really be threatening the enemy team, but a Monkey King bar certainly is. So Alliance, they'll look to press into this. This is IG's last stand. They don't have the Sanity's Eclipse. They do have the Haunt though. Loda pops the BKB. The Overgrowth not going to do much. Taldo drops on 2. But this Chakram is just sitting here in the middle of the fight, helping burn through these creeps, making it hard for Alliance to stay positioned as they would like. So IG hold their ground, and that's really important that they held it for as long for this initial push, because they need the Sanity's Eclipse. That's one of their only major sources of AoE damage, aside from what Zhou does with his illusions. Where's this bear? Bear's at base? Okay. That mithril hammer, I imagine, will be a desolator. Akke is working on his Black King bar. I'm sure he'll get that before the game's over. I'm sure. This is it for IG. There's the ensnare. Who does it land on? Ferrari. He's stuck next to Loda. Nice overgrowth onto 4. Sleep is used by EGM to stop the fight, make sure that the overgrowth is not the problem for them. Nice timing of the call down with the sleep guarantees it lands on 2. YYF, he drops really low, but he timber chains away. Zhou is still alive, but he's getting rooted up by the bear, and he will drop. It's a 3-for-1, 4-for-1 in favor of Alliance so far, and YYF will drop. It's a total team wipe. Alliance, they're going to take game 1 here. 50-minute game, 17-20, but honestly, it felt a lot more exciting than that to me. Constant back and forth. Really well played by Alliance. I doubted them at several points through this. I really thought IG could have taken it at 20 minutes, but I think... Oh man, I was really questioning the admiral, the lone druid. I thought, you know, maybe Alliance is holding on to this pick too long. Maybe they're relying on it as a crutch too much. But at the end of the day, Admiral Bulldog's 9-1-7. He comes through, even though his bear, by all rights, should be dying. But because his control of the bear is so good, I think that's the difference maker. Is that a normal lone druid player would be feeding his bear, would not be able to keep his bear alive. But Admiral Bulldog is so good with lone druid that he can keep it out of the major harass. Make sure that Ferrari's not burning it down with the arcane orb. And that means his bear is dealing all the damage that he's devoted to it. All of the gold, the massive amount of items that he collected there. Loda as well, I mean, he was mostly just a stable rock in the middle of Alliance's lineup, but I think the next mention there would be EGM. Naga Siren play was pretty fantastic throughout this game, and he got farm. This is something I like about Naga Siren, the Naga Siren in this game that I haven't seen in previous games. Is that he actually managed to get some farm up, build items, and be tanky so that he wasn't just getting shat on the second he finished his sleep. So good use of the sleep comboed with the call down. Nice setup for Admiral Bulldog to get in there with his bear, and IG, I think it's a case of outdrafting. The Timber Saw pick I don't think paid off. The Tree and Protector had such a slow start, I think IG needed a much stronger start than they got. The Timber Saw pick could have paid off if Tree and Protector had not had such a slow beginning to things. The only question mark for me on Alliance's side was the Viper pick. I didn't see a lot happen for S4 in this game. He was just kind of there. He was extra damage. He slowed the attack speed. He wasn't irrelevant, but I don't really know what he offered besides the 1v1 strength. Any case, game 2 will be starting soon. I'm going to give my voice a short break.